Hey guys, what's going on? This is my second try at recording this video, but hopefully second time's the charm. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of a review from last week's tournament at the Rocket Mortgage Open or Classic, whatever you want to call it, and then I'm gonna dive into a little bit of a preview, not a deep dive, but just a little bit of a preview for next week, going over price and stuff. But here's a review from last week. Last week did really well. Ended up totaling $60 in winnings from this was 20 and 3, so 23 entries, so profit about 38 bucks. Always good there. If my math was wrong, it's math. So anyway, we had Bryson, obviously, who won it all. I honestly, if his odds were a little bit better, I probably would have placed an outright bet on him. But even still, I will definitely take 146 fantasy points from a guy who he was 27% owned, but you had to eat that chalk. I said it at the beginning of the week to a couple buddies of mine. You got to eat this chalk here at 140. I mean, I didn't obviously know he was going to be at 146, but I knew he was going to be a top scorer. You had to eat the chalk. Those other chalk that I didn't play, and it paid off. Some did, some didn't. So Bryson, very good stuff. Not in the field this week though, so no Bryson. Next, Scotty Scheffler. He is in the field this week. We have a love-hate relationship right now because he went 7 over on Thursday and 7 under on Friday. So this actually gave him the 7 under here. Actually gave him a decent score. Considering he didn't make the cut at 38.5. I was probably one of the higher 5 of 6 lineups because everyone else made the cut for me. But Scotty, I mean, he shot a bogeyless 7 under. Like a bogeyless 7 under. How do you go from 7 over to a 7 under? I don't know. Maybe he was still working out kinks in a swing and he figured it out on Friday. Hoping that is how it's going to go forward because maybe he'll be a good play this week. Because a lot of people will definitely fade him after seeing that. Anyway, next, Adam Hadwin. Really nice performance here. Tied for 4th. 16 under. Got the under 70 bonus, so that was wonderful. Scored 113 points. No complaints there at all. Then we get Kevin Kistner. Came in 3rd. Probably my best play personally, other than Bryson, obviously. But Kistner was about 7.5% owned, which was remarkable considering his upside in this not talentless field, but less talented field than we've had. Just a really nice performance from him, very consistent throughout the weekend. Did have that 170 day, but I mean, hey, I can't complain when a guy puts up 120 fantasy points. Love that. And then we got Lanto Griffin and Wesley Bryan down here. My 2 values both made the cut, which is honestly all I was hoping for. But actually, they both did really well. 13 under for both of them, tied for 21st. So for all the people that did top 20 bets for these guys, are probably pretty pissed. But hey, I was happy with them. 84.5 and 89 out of my value guys. You tell me that's what I'm getting out of this. I feel really damn happy. So that was just an overview of last week. So now we're going to jump into this week a little bit. So like I said, we're just going to do an overview. I'll probably do a kind of a deep dive on some of these guys just because there's a couple I really like. Just to start, obviously I haven't done too much research yet, so you'll have to come back tomorrow when I post my deeper dive video after I watch a couple videos, listen to a couple podcasts, look at some stats and stuff like that. But this is just the guys who stick out to me initially, mostly because of their prices. So JT's not bad. He's the only guy over 11K. Did miss the cut in his last event, so I'm probably not going to get to a lot of JT, but I definitely wouldn't mind if he did. Rom, not my favorite again. Like him and JT are very similar, and they're very like high potential golfers. The problem is since the layoff, they really haven't shown the same, Justin Thomas or John Rahm that they showed before the layoff. So I still think they're getting back into their swings. Maybe this is the week they get back to it. Who knows? But I think at this price, I'm willing to take a chance that it's not that weak. And I'm just going to leave these 2 probably. Patrick Cantlay, a little bit more, better of an option, I believe. He won he won at Memorial last year, which is where this event's taking place. So I don't mind Patrick Cantlay at all. Didn't really show that much rust. His first event back, the Travelers. He did very well there. I mean, you can't go wrong, really. The guy's 10-6, won here last year. I'm just going to look and make sure, I was right about the Travelers, so that was his first week back. Just wanted to make sure I had the right tournament, but shot very well. Did shoot 10 bogeys, but he got 103.5, so tied for 11th. Not at all. Don't mind Cantlay. He should be good here. I'm not sorry about this. My computer's a bit slow times with X and those out, so moving on. Brooks Koepka, definitely a good option up here. He'll definitely be popular, though. That's what you got to be careful of is, Brooks Koepka, he's a big name. Obviously, did very, very well last year. And before, his caddy tested positive for coronavirus, he was starting to get back into his groove. So a lot of people are probably going to take him up here at 10-4. You also do have to think about, though, he's been off for 2 weeks now. How has that time really affected him? Has it affected him at all? We don't know. Did he have coronavirus himself? Again, no one ever said he did. They said it was just his caddy, but you got to imagine, he probably may have. But like I said, he was playing, some really good golf at the end there before that came up, and he had to withdraw from, I believe it was the Travelers. But don't mind Koepka here. He's probably gonna be a pretty chalky play. Probably the most popular play out of this top region. The 10K range / 11K if you want to count Justin Thomas. I think he's going to be the highest owned out of all these guys. Him and Cantlay both. Xander, I like Xander a lot here. Made 11 of 12 cuts, 10-2. Doesn't have to really do too much to, really match that price. His average about 82.3 fantasy points per game per tournament, I guess you could say. I just saw the PG, so I said per game, but don't mind Xander at all. He's done really well. Even at I believe it was the Heritage or the Travelers, it looked like he was going to miss the cut, and then came out on Friday, shot like a 66, ended up making the cut by 1 stroke, and didn't do a ton with it. But hey, I mean, if you're going to make the cut, that's already one step in the right direction, especially up here. I mean, if you don't make the cut up here, your lineup's probably dead. But really like Xander. I think he's got a really good shot at making the cut. Hideki's kind of trending in the right direction. But still, he didn't have a great, I believe it was either a Saturday or a Sunday. I think it was a Sunday because I think he did super well on Saturday. I think that's what it was. I just can't remember off the top of my head at the moment. But still not the same Hideki that we're used to. I don't think he's a 10K golfer at the moment. I mean, if he starts to find his stride a little bit and he shoots like he did on Saturday, he may be worth this 10K price, but I don't think I'm going to pay up for him here. Now, a lot of people are going to like Justin Rose and Viktor Hovland. I am one of those people. These two guys, could start out my lineup, to be completely honest. I don't love anyone up here in the 10K range except maybe, Xander Koepka. Those two guys, I don't love them, but I like them. Justin Rose, Hovland, really like at these prices. 9.5 for Hovland, 9.7 for Rose. Rose just fits this course really well. He's a really good scrambler, and he's really good at saving par. He's probably going to be lower owned just because you look at his cuts. You see 5 of 9, but I just want to do a quick deeper dive into Justin Rose. So he did get cut in the last tournament at the Travelers, but at the Heritage and the Schwab, I mean, look, he's playing some of his best golf of the year here. He did get cut at the Travelers, but he shot a 67 here on Thursday. So that's free. He's made a cut. He got a 70, and at Arnold well. At the Arnold was March, so I love this. Yeah, he shot a 70 here at the and then didn't do worse. So that's a 66 and a 65 weekend. So I like to call it Sunday scaries. Bring the get to another guy who does have that, but that just put a really bad day on Sunday. But outside travel, I mean, he's played super well. Really, he'd be a really nice to start your lineup at. And then go to Hovland here. Hovland, I don't even need to bring up his stats. If you've been watching the tournaments, you know that he's been really playing well. He's made every cut since since the restart, I should say. The only thing is his putting. If he can learn to putt, he is going to be up in the 10K, 11K range because his iron play, his tee to green, really good. I don't think his tee to green is super good, but his irons, man, his irons can really make a difference for him. And you're gonna really need that this week and hit the greens right in time because last year's cut line I believe was +1 at Memorial. So if he can, avoid those bogeys and get onto the green regulation, even if he two putts, that's saving par. I'm fine with that. So I like Hovland. Morikawa. Now, before the last 2 weeks, I would have said Morikawa is a great play here. At 9-2, he should be a smash play. But after watching his ball striking in his last 2 tournaments, he really hasn't been the same Colin Morikawa ball striker, that we've seen. And before the break, he was number 1 in ball striking. I don't know what he is right now since the restart, but I can't imagine it's too high. He's been hitting a lot of bunkers. He's been hitting a lot of roughs. He's not the same ball striker right now, and I think that's going to hurt him here this week. And it's hard for me to say he's going to get cut, but at the same time, if you ask me who in the 9K range, other than Rickie Fowler, do you think has the highest chance to be cut, I would honestly say Morikawa right now, just because of his ball striking ability at the moment. I mean, Hideki's a close second to him, but man, I just don't love Morikawa's game right now, and he's going to have to do something really good this week to prove me wrong. Fowler did really well last week. It was a weaker field, so I'm not really going to take that into account. 6-10 up here. I know I said you shouldn't take that too much into account when I talked about Justin Rose, but I mean, I'll just give you an example here. Rickie has not been the same as Rose because he's been cut twice since being back. So, I mean, yeah, you could say he's trending in the right direction, but this field was significantly easier than these 2 fields, and it's back to these kind of fields this guy that really costs lineups or make some. I don't think his ownership's going to be super high just because of the stacked field that we have, and he's priced all the way up at 9K. If he was in the 8K range, I'd say he's a better option, but I still probably wouldn't get to him. Going into the 8K range, now I'm going to try to space it out a bit more so this video isn't super long for you guys. But just to highlight the 8K range, don't really love anyone in the high 8K range. Jordan Spieth, if you're willing to watch his bogeys go up, I mean, you'll see his birdies go up, but this course isn't really a great fit for him. I'm not sure what he finished last year. I'll obviously go into that more in the deeper dive tomorrow. But Spieth does have high upside, I guess you could say, but he also has a really low floor. So you're just holding your breath with Jordan Spieth. Guys who I do like, lower 8K range, Niemann. I really like Niemann. He's another guy who, as I mentioned, the Sunday Scaries earlier. He got those at, I believe it was the Heritage. No, it was the Travelers. Sorry, Travelers. He was doing super well up until round 4, and then he shot the 75. I don't know for contention, but he definitely had a shot 66. Could have been up there. So you just have to watch out. He is a young kid. He's 21 years old. But if you look at how he did at the Heritage, he did super well there. He hasn't been cut since the return of play. So I really like this. I mean, that 118.5 at RBC. Obviously not high of a ceiling if he doesn't like competing too well. If he, I think good ball striking. I really like Niemann here at 8-4. Gary Woodland is an okay play. Just hasn't been as good since the restart. Again, I don't think I'm going to put too much into Gary Woodland just because I think he's going to have not only high ownership, but I do think he's still working off a bit of rust. Maybe last week was a good, shake off the rust kind of week for him, but I don't think I'm getting into too much Woodland. Hadwin had a really good week last week. Again, it was in a weaker field, so I do think he's an option. I just don't think his ceiling is there. Matthew Wolff had super good. He got the Sunday Scaries bad, man. He had a 2-shot lead going into Sunday, or maybe it was even a 3. Yeah, I believe it was a 3 actually. He was at 19. I think Bryson was at 16. And then shot a 71. So he shot a 1 under. But look at this. I mean, he shot a 64, 64, and then 71. Like, he just got the season. So and Hovland were actually very similar, comparing them on the Golf Channel, which I thought was interesting. But if you look at him, though, he had a super good birdie or better week, and he did get a couple bogeys, but, I mean, before that, he wasn't hitting a lot of bogeys. So I think his irons got really hot. I think he's an option. But he's second on the list, just looking at the range. Yeah, and you get to look at Matthew for an extra second. All right, Matthew Fitzpatrick, don't love him there. Don't Watson at all. Going to the 7K range. I think it's laughable that Streelman and Jason Day are priced up at 7.8 and 7.7. Um, they just really haven't done much. Like Streelman came in second at I think it was the Heritage or Travelers. I can't remember which one. I think it was Travelers actually. No, I said that out loud. Yeah. So, but I mean, he got cut at the previous 3 events. I know I said I don't really take that into account, but he got cut at 2 of the last 3 since the return. Not necessarily played terrible at 7-8. If you're telling me I played 7-8 for a guy who I have to hold my breath on all of Thursday and Friday, thank you. Even if you tell me that there's a chance he could come second, I just don't see Streelman being priced up here with guys like Joel Dahm. I don't understand Byung An's price either. He hasn't played that well since the restart. I think he's made 1 cut since the restart. I want to make sure just so I don't sound stupid. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Okay, so he's made 2 cuts, but he hasn't competed at all. So he did have a better time at the Travelers, but 19.5 and 58.5, I ain't gonna get it done. So I'm probably not gonna get 2 unless stats tell me otherwise. And then Jason Day, again, just a big name. Just because he was number 1, I think 2 years ago, he's really just lost it. Don't love him here. But guys, I do like in a 7K range. As much as I hated Scotty on Thursday, I loved him on Friday. And I think he's starting to work off the rust a little bit. He hit the ball a lot better on Friday. So I think if he can, bring that Friday game to this tournament, I think he could be a really nice option here at 7-8. Joel Dahmen, really like Joel Dahmen. Not a lot of people are talking about him. I think last tournament he played in was the Travelers. He was super under-owned. I think he was about 8-9% owned. And he made the cut and got into Sunday, shot a good score. I think he had about 60, 70, maybe 80 fantasy points. And I'll take that from a guy at 7.7. So I like that a lot. Harold Varner, not a bad price here at 7,500. Had a lot of hype going into last weekend. I wouldn't say he disappointed, but he didn't really wow people like I think a lot of people were expecting. I think a lot of people are expecting top 10 or top 5 even. I think he ended up finishing like 30th or something like that. I mean, still not bad for a guy who's 7.5. His ball striking has still been pretty good, so I don't mind Harold Varner here. Ian Poulter been Mr. Consistent for the most part. He did miss at the Travelers, I believe, but it wasn't really because he was playing bad. It was just because the cut line was so high. I mean, he shot. Oh, nope, that was okay. No, so he just had a bad Saturday. That's right. I remember now. So he had a bad Saturday, made the cut there. So again, he's another guy who's made every cut since being back. He had 1 RBC. Actually had tournaments. It was nice to see him there. I believe he was the round 1 leader. Yeah, he was the round 1 leader at that tournament. But 3 for 3 on cuts. Don't mind Poulter here. And then the guy below him, McNealy. I like Maverick. Maverick's been playing really well. Played a really good round of golf at Rocket Mortgage. I mean, unless stats tell me differently, I think he's probably the best 7.5 or lower option as of right now. But as I said, still good to do some more research. Hubbard's an interesting one. Same with Lanto. These guys are both interesting. Hubbard, he kind of scares me because he shot super well on Thursday and Friday. And then on Saturday, he started off pretty good. And then at the end, he was kind of mishitting the ball. I was watching him. He was one of the featured guys. As you see, he shot 69 of 72. So at the end of Saturday, I noticed his ball striking got significantly worse. He had a couple bunkers. He kind of showed emotions a little bit because he kind of swiped it with the club. I think kind of missed his head a little bit, and that made round 4 not so good for him. I shot even, so I mean, that's not terrible, but considering what he did round 1, round 2, definitely not the same out round 3 and round 4. I think Hubbard's going to be more this week than I think he was before. I mean, he made the previous 4 cuts, but at 7,400, just seeing how his headspace was at the end of the tournament last week, he's going to have to turn it around in his head. My boy Lanto Griffin, unfortunately, is now over 7K. He's actually made 3 or 4. I mean, it's 15 and 20, but 3 or 4 if you narrow it down. But 7,400 for Lanto, that's kind of risky considering he's a guy who's more of a birdie or better guy. His ball striking has been better as of late, but I don't think I'm going to get too much Lanto this week. Chris Kirk, 7,300. I mean, he's only made 3 of 8 cuts, but you got to love the story of this guy. He dealt with alcoholism and drug use. Got help from the PGA, and now he's back out playing. Played terrific golf last week, but I think it was just a weak field, and I think that's why he stood out a lot. He kind of faded as the weekend went, but gotta love the story, not the price. Tringale, not a bad option, but again, he's another one. His price just went up too high for me. I mean, he's made 12 or 14 cuts, played good golf, but he's never really in contention, which, I mean, you don't need at 7,300, but that's really what I'm looking for. Like a guy like Ryan Palmer, he's got 3 top 10s, made 9 to 12 cuts. See, I think he's a lot better of an option than these guys. Even though Chris Kirk was in contention on Saturday, and then as you can tell, he dropped out of the top 10. So I like Palmer here. I don't mind him at all. And then going down to the 7-1s, Max Homa, not a terrible option. Hasn't played his best golf since the restart, but can definitely get you there. Stewart played really well last week. Don't mind him at all here at 7-1. Sepp Straka, if you want to have a heart attack and see if he can get birdie betters, he's like a worse version of Scotty Scheffler, I think. But, I mean, he's been playing better lately, actually. I mean, he made the last 2 cuts that I saw. So, if you want to take a chance on a guy who's 6 and 19, go for it, I guess. And I think the last really good option here is going to be Sam Burns and Richie Werenski, 6'9 and 6'8. Sam Burns has been playing really good golf, only 8 of 14 cuts, so definitely not a pencil in for the weekend. But the way he's been playing recently, I believe he's made the last 2 or 3 cuts. So not bad there for 6'9". That's really all you can hope for down in this range. You're just hoping they make the cut. Werenski played really well, but again, it was a weaker field. So, I mean, 7 of 11 cuts. I would say probably Sam Burns is more a better option just to spend the extra 100. But if you don't have the 100, I don't mind Werenski at all. And then as we're scrolling, JB Holmes, I mean, he's made 6-7 cuts, but this is first week back. So if you want to take a chance on him, go for it, but not my favorite option. And then as we go down here, we just get into guys who, I mean, Adam Long's not bad, 12 18 cuts. And then my last guy that I'm going to go to, Shank did pretty well last week. Norlander did pretty well last week. Last guy I'm going to go to is Carlos Ortiz. At 6'4", he's honestly like probably one of the best options in the 6K range. Just because of his upside, he's probably the value that I'm looking at the most as of right now. Still, obviously, I got to do some more research. De La Gooch, not bad either. But Carlos Ortiz really has some good upside if you're really trying to like go for the milli maker lineup. Carlos Ortiz could be that key piece that you need in there. Not saying to lock him in because, as I said, I got to still look at some stats. But his upside, I believe it was at the Heritage, he did super, super well. Actually, I think he actually been cut the last 2 or 3 events now that I think about it. But for a 6'4" guy, I mean, look at the upside here. So he got cut at the Travelers shooting. He shot a 2 under, so it's not like he performed bad there. He just didn't perform as well as the other guys. And at the 75 Friday. But if you put it all together, 69, 67, 63, and then Sunday series, but he was in contention here at the end of round 3. He shot a 63, which was phenomenal. 7 under, I believe that is. Because I think the RBC was par 70, but shot a 3. So I mean, at 15 under going in, he has the upside to top 10, maybe even top 4 when but is his bogey events. This week it's going to be really important to avoid bogeys. Cutland last year was +1. It's not going to be -20 that we've been seeing, but he's really the only value down here that I think is somewhat interesting. I'm not even going to look at the others right now because there's just no down there. So there is the preview. So as I mentioned, tomorrow I will be releasing my deeper dive, and we're going to really start digging in, boys. So I appreciate you listening. hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, and we will be back tomorrow. So thank you for watching and enjoy your day.